Welcome back. So in this module, we're really going to be looking at the Kabbalistic sources behind the idea of the rise of the divine feminine. But before we dive in, I really want to be clear about something, that what I'm teaching right now is not New Age wisdom. And even though the talk today around the masculine and feminine can sound very modern or very Instagrammy and trendy, but it's actually one of the most fundamental philosophies in Jewish thought. And it really goes back all the way to the creation of the world, to the very first chapters of Bereshit. And in Genesis, it says, "And God made two great luminaries, the greater luminary to rule the day, and the lesser luminary to rule the night." And the Midrash asks, if the verse begins with two great luminaries, why does it end with one being greater and one being lesser? And the sages come and explain. Originally, yes, God did indeed create two equal lights, the sun and the moon. But the moon spoke up against God, and she said, "God, two kings cannot share one crown." So God said to her, "It's okay, go and diminish yourself." And from that moment on, the moon becomes the lesser light. So the mystics explain that the sun represents the masculine. The masculine is this constant, strong, radiating outward energy. And the moon represents the feminine, a reflective, cyclical, waxing and waning. She holds a hidden power. So the moon's diminishment, and this I learned from my dear teacher, Sarah Yehudit Schneider, is understood as the root of the concealment of the feminine throughout history. And we see this as women's voices being pushed aside. We've seen this as feminine energy being suppressed and our spiritual leadership hidden. But yet, even though the light of the moon, the light of the feminine, has been diminished, the moon was always the heartbeat of Jewish time. We see it in the way that we sanctify the new month by the moon. Our holidays follow her cycles. We have Rosh Chodesh, which is the renewal of the moon, the new month, and it was given as a very special holiday, especially for women. It's even the first commandment in the Torah, the first one that we got when we became a nation, even before leaving Egypt, and that was to establish a Hebrew calendar by sanctifying the new moon. But the story doesn't end there. The Midrash promises that in the future, in the times of redemption, the moon will once again shine like the sun. What this means is that in the future, the feminine will no longer be the lesser force in creation. She will rise up to her original equality and her original light. This is the rise of the divine feminine, not against the masculine, but in balance with it. Men and women, both of us, are uncovering a softer, more cyclical, embodied wisdom, and we're seeing how we're illuminating the world with it. So when we're talking about Jewish women rising specifically in this generation, we're not talking about something new. We're talking about a fulfillment of a very ancient promise that is unraveling and unveiling itself before our very eyes. And the most beautiful part is to feel on an embodied level and seeing all around us how we're truly living in a time where the feminine light, like the light of the moon, is rising to shine again in its fullest. And now I'm going to take it one step further. In Judaism, we have a concept of the 6,000-year cycle. This is where Jewish time gives us another layer of this specific perspective. The sages teach that the world itself has a cosmic cycle of 6,000 years, and it's divided into 3 stages of time. The first 2,000 years is called Tohu, a time of chaos and formation. And the next 2,000 years is a time of Torah, the time of divine wisdom entering the world. And the final 2,000 years will be Yemot HaMashiach, the days of redemption. And according to Judaism and our calendar, we are currently in the last stretch of history. We're in the 6th millennium. And that means that we are already living in the footsteps of Mashiach, the age of Mashiach. And this is a time where the hidden sparks begin to rise. It's a time when the world starts preparing for a deeper harmony and for redemption. And everything that we are seeing going on in the world around us is a clear indication that this is already happening. And it's no coincidence that this is happening all in time. The time where the Shekhinah, which is the divine feminine presence of God, is gathering her strength. She is recoming into her power, and she will shine again, no longer diminished. So just as the moon will one day shine like the sun, so too the feminine will rise into her fullness side by side with the masculine. In Jewish thought, the moon is linked to the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is the divine feminine presence of God. And the moon's monthly cycles of waxing and waning basically mirror the cycle that happens within a woman's body. It symbolizes change, it symbolizes renewal, it symbolizes transformation. And this is in contrast to the constant light of the sun. So when we speak about the masculine and feminine, we're not just talking about men and women. We're actually not talking about men and women at all. We're really talking about the masculine and feminine as archetypes that exist within each and every single one of us. So the masculine archetype is structured. It represents logic and action and linearity, vis-a-vis the feminine that represents intuition, receptivity, and flow. And here's the beautiful part, that this isn't just a cosmic story. It's also a personal one. I can share as a woman myself that as a young lady and as a child, we shine with so much vitality. We have so much light, so much energy. We're these beautiful, glowing neshamas full of energy and possibility. Then as we go through our teenage years and through our 20s, many of us go through changes and our light can sometimes feel diminished because we're figuring out who we truly are. But slowly as we grow and we heal and we connect and we learn and we experience life, we begin to uncover our own very unique light. And we step into our wisdom and we step into our beauty. So this process is reflected on a macro level, but it also reflects the span of a woman's life. And even on a micro level, our day to day. Within the female body, there are times where we feel expanded, where we feel powerful, where we feel radiant, like the waxing moon. But then there are also times when we feel contraction and we need more rest, we need stillness. And this is a time of recalibration, like the waning moon. And the invitation is to really learn how to live connected to these cycles, to honor that there will be times when we feel unstoppable, but there are also times we will need to pull back, and to know that every single version of ourselves, from the expanded, beautiful, full part of us to the contracted, maybe empty, smaller part, are all beautiful and they're all holy and they're all welcome. And this is the invitation of the feminine rising. It's to see our life as part of this larger story. So in the next module, we're going to dive a little bit deeper and we're going to explore how these feminine principles within Judaism allow us not just to understand this whole cosmic story, but how to actually embody it in our daily lives.